Cool. So,
Ready?
yeah. Thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. I guess we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so this won't be live, but we will have a recording of it. My name is Steven. I'm the current president of the Beta Gamma Sigma chapter here at Phi Theta Kappa on Cincinnati State's campus. We've got a special guest in the house today. She came all the way back from the real world, came back to still support the organization, help us get some knowledge and insight on scholarships, which is what a lot of us, one of the bigger reasons why a lot of us joined Phi Theta Kappa. And our special guest name is Sandy.
Sandy Oppelt.
Sandy Oppelt.
Yep.
But thanks.
Sure.
So I'll let you get going.
Okay. I know some of you, and I've met the others of you. A couple things we're going to talk about before we actually get into talking a little bit about the scholarships. Just so that you know where I came from. I started here, I don't even know how many years ago, I'd say 4 years ago I guess it's been, and I graduated last May with an associate's degree in health information technology, healthcare informatics. Currently I do that for a living. I'm a certified clinical review abstractor for NSQIP, which is a National Surgical Quality Improvement Program. Basically what I do is I go through an electronic medical record and I find everything about the surgery, and then I put it into another electronic record, and then that gets analyzed, and I download the things and upload things, that kind of stuff. So we're looking to improve surgical outcomes for our patients. I work at Jewish Hospital Mercy Health, which is in Kenwood. It's part of a huge system. Mercy system is one of the biggest systems in the world, really, for healthcare. For 36 years, I worked at Deaconess Hospital in Clifton before they closed, and I've been at Jewish 6 years now, something like that. So if you do the math, I'm 60 this year. So I made it. So I came into school kind of by accident. I was going to go, when I got out of high school, I was of course I don't know what you call it now, but back then we were like pre-college special class. In fact, my class was a experimental class from kindergarten all the way through high school. I started working at the hospital the summer after I graduated high school, and I wanted to have 10 kids and get married. And back then, like if you wanted to be something like a phlebotomist or an anesthesia tech, you didn't go to school, you just did it. And I thought, well, I'm gonna have 10 kids. So life happened, 2 divorces later, and 1 adopted child from Haiti when she was 16. And Deaconess closed, and I lost my job and had to go get another job after working somewhere where I thought I was gonna retire from. I lost $4 an hour, and I was kind of way up there in what I was making because technically I was way ahead in computers than everybody else, but you couldn't tell somebody that. So a lady walked in at work one day and said, we got a SAW program, which was like a school at work program, and it helps you to determine if you can go back to college and, or go to college. I said, I don't, I'll come listen. She was very engaging, and within like 3 weeks, I was here. And I didn't even really have time to think about it, which was probably a good thing, because when you think about all the stuff you have to do, especially if you have family and kids and life and work, and it was the best thing I ever did. The second best thing I ever did was to join Phi Theta Kappa, which, of course, coming to college for the first time at late 50s or early 50s, whatever it was, I had no idea. I was like calling people like, what is this I'm hearing? These ladies in the back know. And I was joined the honors program, which again, I knew that kind of stuff existed, but then all of a sudden I started finding out about all these things that you can do in Phi Theta Kappa. Of course, one of those is scholarships. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about with why you should do them. First of all, there's a lot of money involved. There's publications like this all the time, like in your Sunday paper, on the internet. There's Fast Web, there's College Fish, which is the best one to go through because you get it free and it's part of Phi Theta Kappa. Do you all go on the Phi Theta Kappa website regularly, like once a week? Probably not. That's the first thing that you want to do is log in to your Phi Theta Kappa website, and then you want to start filling out everything that you can do. Fill out your profile, develop your resume. Doesn't matter if you have one, you still need to do it online through there. One of the best things that they have is they mesh everything over to College Fish, which is a search engine, but you only get applications and information about things that pertain to what you want to do or what you have already done. So you're not getting these, write a 200-page essay about building a house when you're going to be a nurse, or all these things that you have to look at and then throw out, which, like FastWeb, I used for my daughter years ago. It's great, but you have to go through hundreds of things to get to what you want. The more you put into Phi Theta Kappa online, the more you're going to get out of it, because you're going to actually, it's intuitive, so it starts picking up on what you need and want. The other thing about Phi Theta Kappa online is, of course, that's where all the scholarship applications are for theirs, but they also have thousands of other ones. But there's a couple things that you want to try to do, which is I'll show you that stuff in a minute, but I think it's still the Competitive Edge or 5-star, they changed the name of it, but it was 5-star Competitive Edge before. Even if you don't think you can complete it, which is silly because you can, it's pretty simple. If you just spend an hour a week doing something on it, you'll get it done. But as you start filling out the Competitive Edge thing, and I haven't really, I kind of glanced at the new version, but they're pretty similar. You get more points behind you that help you get scholarships. They don't give scholarships through Phi Theta Kappa just to your average person, because you're not average, obviously, you're in Phi Theta Kappa. The more points you have, which means filling out the things on their website, achieving different levels, and it's great if as a club you can achieve, is it still 5-star for a club? It's great if you can do that. The history here has not been fantastic about doing that, so you just have to suck that up and admit that that's not going to be maybe your first. You can try, but usually there's some colleges that have thousands of members, and then there's some colleges like ours that has 15, 20 really active, maybe 150 total members, but we're not huge. So trying to let the college do the work for you and get that standing behind you doesn't always work. You have to do it for yourself. In that 5-star thing, there's some of the things that you have to do in order to get a scholarship. And this is not just for Phi Theta Kappa, but you have to volunteer. You have to join things. And the biggest part of that is you have to keep track of every little thing you do. Every meeting you go to, every activity you go to, every time if you drop $5 in a can somewhere, you make a notation that you dropped $5 in a can somewhere, if it's a donation. There's always opportunities to do that. Now, I joined a lot of different things. Let's see what some of them, over the years, like I was part of the United Way, part of the Fine Arts Fund, the Red Dress Fund for Hearts, Race for the Cure. I used to be a runner. the gift a site, which was so simple. You collect glasses and give them to lens crafters. But it's a big deal because you're providing glasses for people in foreign countries that don't have them, and it counts. Joining things at your church, joining things at school. If they say, we need 5 volunteers, do it, because everything you do, you get another little point behind your name. And all those little points count. When they look at if you have the best, I have a bad back, so excuse me if I kind of twist around. If you have the best essay, but you've done nothing to help anybody else, you had no community involvement, no school involvement, you didn't join any clubs except for Phi Theta Kappa, you're already dropping down in the list. And it's not necessary to do everything, but at least try to do something, because that's what they look for. When you're filling out different things on the Phi Theta Kappa page, you'll see where it'll say, like, list your volunteer activities. You want to try to have at least 5, because that kind of means that you're not just saying, I dropped classes off, you know. They want to see something that you actually did, because then you're going to have to write a little, I kept copies like for, I keep everything, but when you have to list your local involvement, so they'll ask you, what have you done with Phi Theta Kappa? I was the secretary for the officer for secretary. I started the Facebook page, I maintained the Facebook page. You think those are little things that don't matter? Guess what, they really matter a lot. I assisted the president, we did travel, we did fundraising, we planned things, we planned the involvement. I collaborated on our 5-star attempt, what we were doing for our honors and actions. We met regularly with the college advisors. All those little things, those are the things that you keep track of, because those are the things, this meeting should go immediately onto your list of things that you do. I entered the t-shirt design contest and won. It's little things like that. You don't have to do a lot. And then, like my honors program, we had to go to 5 in our college career of the outside activities. I tried to go to every one of them because they were educational, they looked good on things, and they were fun, but it also showed that you were involved in the college outside of what you're required to do, because we didn't have to go. I mean, you'd have to give up a Saturday morning to go climb hills in Mount Adams, but it was it was fun, and we did it. So when you start going through the different, especially the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship applications, they asked you specific questions like, why did you do a particular activity? What did it mean to you? And why would you recommend it to someone else? So as you make those little notes, just keep a notebook, or, I always had some, just like a spiral bound, I had a small one. Just make notes of who was there, what you learned, would you recommend it to somebody else, and what was something outstanding that happened. It could have been something like, you saw kids get happy when we did the Santa Claus delivery, But those are the things that they're looking for. The other thing that they look for on your applications are other scholarships or other awards that you've won. So when I started here, Cincinnati State has a lot of scholarships that take time, maybe an hour at the most. The biggest thing is just getting like a bunch of essays together with why you went back to school, or why you do what you're doing, what your career goal is. Kind of build you up like a little
That's a portfolio?
Yeah, like a little portfolio of possible essay questions that they might ask you. And you can Google that, because there's thousands of things out there where people will tell you. But Cincinnati State scholarships, I got, let's see, what did I get from Cincinnati State? I got the Zonta and Rashi scholarship, which was $1,500. I got that 2 years. This Charlotte Smidlap Endowed Scholarship for Women was $500. And people, I've heard many kids say, and you guys aren't kids, but you guys are kids. But I've heard kids say, or people say in the class, like, $500, is that really worth my time? Trust me, $500 is huge. Even if it, some scholarships give you cash, so you can pay for your books. Some scholarships, like what I said earlier, there were scholarships that I got and I lost money because my work paid for most of my school because they sent me here. It was under a healthcare collaborative. So all the scholarship money that I earned just went back into the till if I didn't use it, which is fine. But nobody asks you if you spent the money or if you used the money. They just ask you if you got scholarships. And it doesn't hurt if I was awarded it. You know, you can't think about, well, am I taking something away from someone else? Half, probably more than half, I don't even remember maybe 80% of the scholarships that are available go untaken. No one picks them up. There's very specific scholarships. There might be a scholarship for a black man in engineering or a white woman in, I don't know, cooking, something like that. They're very specific. And if there's no one that applies for it, nobody's going to get it. So that money just goes back in the till. And that's the same way, you know, if I got, I think there was, I have a list somewhere. There was quite a bit that I earned that wasn't cash. It had to go just to school. So it would balance back and forth. And because of the way that my work paid for it, they didn't care if I earned anything. It wasn't going to change what they paid. I'm trying to think what else from here.
So you have a total of?
Yeah, I do. I think I do somewhere. At one point, I had over $30,000 that I had won or was awarded. And that didn't include anything that, there was other ones that I had received that weren't like monetary wise, but they were values. So I'm gonna pass this around. You can kind of look at this. I don't give out my stuff just because you don't need to copy from anybody, but you can just take your time looking at it. This is all of the awards and scholarship money that I got. So what does this do? So from this point, after you've done your work, you apply for the scholarships, you get your stories together, get the information that you need. You need letters of recommendation. And how do you get those? Well, I can tell you, you don't get them. I already asked one of my professors at UC. I'm now at UC in the Health Information Management program for my bachelor's. And I already asked one I'm in another honor society now, Golden Key International Honor Society. And in the fall, I'll be part of UC's Fraternal Honor Society. I don't even know the name of it, but I've already been invited to that. So in order to get scholarships for those, you need a letter of recommendation, and it had to be somebody that you were currently a professor with. Well, all my stuff is online, and even though I'm 4.0 still, and even though they tell me how really great I'm doing and my work is far above everybody else's, and I'm not telling you that, it's just a fact, it's just, I mean, I hear that. When I asked for a letter of recommendation, they don't know me. They can't know me, it's online. So I could be, you know, a 15-year-old boy living in some foreign state faking that I'm in Ohio. I mean, you don't have to do anything to be who you are if they can't see you. So make sure, especially now, when you have a one-on-one relationship with your professors, your advisors, if you're not doing anything and they don't know who you are, how do you expect them to write a letter about you? You can't get your mom to write this. This has to be somebody that you either work with closely for school or that you have turned in work and they realize how good you are. You need to keep at least 3 or 4 of those letters because you can't use the same letter every time. So ask them if they know you and they've worked with you, they would be happy to write a letter for you. Everybody that I dealt with here at Cincinnati State went above and beyond to help me be who I am now. I never met any professor or advisor, no one, anywhere, that was not good to me and treated me fairly. I had opportunities on the list. You can see I was asked to interview for the graduation speech. I was invited to things that I didn't even know I could be invited to. You could pass this around too. This is just a bunch of stuff from here and starting forward. I had opportunities that I didn't know I had because I got good grades, I was polite, I wasn't late, I showed up on time, and I did whatever I needed to do. I didn't do it because I thought I was going to win something or get something. You really have to want it because it makes you look better. Plus, you're more employable. People are going to want. It's great to say a 4.0 means something. It does. But when you have an interview with somebody or you want to ask for a raise, they really don't care if you have a 4.0. But if you can tell them that you were the president or you were on this committee, that you won $50,000 in scholarships, because that demonstrates that you have been involved, that you've done your homework, not physical homework, but you know what's expected, you know how to write something that is acceptable. You can't send in letters or applications with errors, misspellings. That goes without being said. If you can't write well, you need to get a mentor or a ghostwriter, and you tell them your story and you get them to write it for you, and then you rework it in your words, but not bad words, not bad grammar or incorrect spelling. You work one-on-one with somebody. There's people here in the library that'll help you with that. They won't do it for you, but they'll help you get through that. I've written for years, so that part wasn't hard on me. The hard part is to tell your story without sounding like you're down and out. Nobody wants you to get up there and tell you that, I was a drug addict and this is my last chance and my mom died when I was 16. Everybody's got hardships. Yours are just different than mine. But I still included in my work why I went back to school at an old age, what happened to me that caused me not to go to school, what happened to me to cause me to go to school. I've had probably 32 major surgeries. I have metal in me all over. I had breast cancer and went through the 3 heaviest chemos, 5 years of chemo. But in a short note, all you have to do is say you've had a lot of medical issues and, abusive relationship. You don't have to tell them 3 pages long of how horrible your life was, because all you're going to do is turn them off. You want them to know that you overcame things, but you don't need to drown them in it. The good thing about doing all these scholarships, and it really is just follow directions, do exactly what they tell you. If you're not sure, ask somebody else. But start with the Phi Theta ones, because when you get your 5-star started, you'll see what they're looking for. You'll know, because they say, how many activities have you been involved in? None. Okay, before I go further, I think I need to get involved in something. One thing isn't enough. You'll have a question like, why do you want this? And what is it going to do for you? It's not enough to just say I need money, or I need somebody to pay for my school, or I can't afford my books. You have to be able to tell them what it means to you to have that money. Because guess what? If you get something, then you have to send them a thank you note. One of the awards that I won was the silver medal for Coca-Cola. I was 3rd in the state of Ohio of all the people that submitted, and I was in the top, I think it's 100 for each category. I was in like the top 100 or 200, I can't remember which it is, of all of the international candidates. That particular award, I had to write a letter to the president and owner of Coca-Cola to thank him for what I got from him. It's a big deal. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or 1,000. It's a big deal to get a personalized letter from somebody telling you how good you're doing and to thank you for being who you are. Thank them back. So you need to start thinking about how are you going to tell people thank you. Get a bank of thank you letters together. Because when you start winning these, you don't have time. You still got to do all the other stuff that you do. Thank everybody you talk to. If you talk to an advisor, you send them a thank you note. And you keep copies of everything you send. If you have, you go to a bakery and they show you how the bakery runs, thank the owner of the bakery for letting you come visit, because that's an opportunity for you. You don't know, that's networking. You got to keep everybody that you talk to. If you have business cards, that's great, but if you don't have business cards, that little notebook that you keep, you put down people's names and numbers. When you start going out and doing things, it's not good enough to just show up and then say thank you and leave. You need to know who you talked to, when it was, what the date was, because these are the things that are going to come back to you when you're trying to think of what can I tell them. I need to write 350 words on something extraordinary that happened to me through Phi Theta Kappa. Everybody's competing for the same thing. Yours has to be better, special, different. So pull those little things out that you never would think of. Maybe it was a day you helped the janitor clean because they were short-staffed. I heard Mary was short-staffed today. Those are the things that you keep just for when you need them. After all said and done, and you start winning things, which you will. I think I might have put it in that other. It might be inside that other thing. I had. I did college fish. I did all the levels of Phi Theta Kappa that you could do. I went to 2 different conferences. The only reason I didn't go to the first one is because I didn't know anything about it until after it was almost over. All these little things, they look like silly ribbons, but guess what? These are what tell everybody else at the conference how much better and bigger and things that you've done. And you think it doesn't mean anything. The next thing I'm going to show you, this is all of the bling that I got from Phi Theta Kappa and from Cincinnati State. When I graduated, the picture that's in that book, I had everything that's in here on. And you better believe I had it on. I worked my butt off to get this stuff. Not just by getting good grades, but by doing all the stuff. Keeping track of everything is hard to do. It's a lot of work, but once you start doing it, it's easy. This is my silver medal from Coca-Cola, and this is the All Ohio Academic Team, which there's letters in there that were from the governor and state representatives. When we went to, I went twice to that conference because one of the things that gets you up the levels is the first year I was in, that I went to a conference, I won the Leaders of Promise, Coca-Cola's Leaders of Promise. And so when I applied for the next scholarship, guess what? They remember because in my list of things I've done, so that put me ahead to win the next level in Coca-Cola. So it's, even if you only win one thing or you win nothing, at least you've tried. But once you start doing this, it's addictive. It's not, you know, my daughter, she won things when she was growing up, I put them in boxes and she's like, why are you doing it? Because other people don't do it. Everybody doesn't do what we've done. Half the people don't even care if they graduate, much less get good grades and get money for it. This little one here, that was the first one I ever got. That was when I bypassed school at work. The SAW program, when they graduate after their 9 months of learning how to go back to college or go to college, they get this medal. And I got that because I tested out of it and bypassed. But there's just the pins you get. I mean, it seems silly until you start doing it, and then you realize that it's just like anything else. It makes you want to do better. It makes your family proud. My dad's 87. My daughter will be 30 this year, and they were more excited than I was. I mean, it was people were like, are you gonna walk at graduation? Of course I'm gonna walk at graduation. I didn't work this hard not to do, and I'm telling you that they have these cannons that go off with confetti and scares you to death because you don't know it's gonna happen even when you think you know about it. And it was just like, it was the most surreal thing. It meant more to me than to actually get to that point that you do. When I walked up, first thing Dr. Owen said, he was a president then, first thing he said to me is, he's like, how are you walking? You're gonna fall over, you're too heavy in the front, because I had all that stuff on there. And it makes you feel good. But the other thing, have several resumes. I have probably 5 different resumes. I don't know what you all are going to do with your life. I'm still in school. I just got offered $14,000 to do MBA at UC, which I didn't think I was going to do my bachelor's, much less go on to do an MBA. What am I going to do? I'm going to be dead. But if they're going to pay for it, it's just learning. I might do it. But have different resumes available, because if you have an opportunity to talk with somebody and you never, I've probably had, let's see, I've been in 8 different departments at the first hospital. I started out in food service, and I ended up being a medical staff credentialer and data geek. And I've had 2 or 3 different jobs since I've been at Jewish. I never know who I'm going to meet or when I'm going to meet somebody that I'm going to need to give them something. So have things ready so that they don't have to be everything you've ever done. One of mine just details stuff that I did before I quit, before Deaconess closed. One of them I keep with all the things that the one that I've won. Sometimes people are fascinated by it. I love hearing other people's stories. When you go to the convention, even if you just go to the Ohio ones, you'll learn about people that have struggled through things and still end up winning. And but it's about the trying. It's not so much the winning. You'll win if you try. You just got to try. There's so many. The Cincinnati State scholarships are probably going to be your easiest to get. Have you guys done that at all?
Yes.
You have? You haven't? Have either of you? That's like money sitting there waiting for you to take it. There are so many scholarships, and like I said, they're anywhere between $250 and a couple thousand. You guys are the top of the class to get those. Do they still have the same scholarships online, don't they? What are the times for those?
September. They open in November, I think. Is that right? Which one? No, they close in November. The Cincinnati State Scholarship.
Oh, I just got mine. I did just get mine.
You got one?
Yeah, but it said I can't use it. I can use it for next semester, but I'm not going to be here next semester.
But
they
you
can
still
only
got
use
it.
Okay, so.
Don't
just put
look
on
at it that way.
Okay.
If you win it, you got it. It doesn't matter if you can't use it,
Okay.
because somebody else will. What? Unfortunately, I don't think you can pass it on, but that's what
If
I'm
I take
saying.
some more classes, I can use it.
Well, and you don't know.
Yeah, I
that-
didn't know when I did the scholarship. that
Right.
It was only gonna be for next semester.
Right, but you don't know if you're gonna, the other thing is don't ever view that it's, like, I apply for stuff even now. I know I'm not gonna go to school full-time. It doesn't stop me from applying for them. Some of the scholarships that I won were for only full-time. And I declined them after I win them, but I won them, and it's, you know, it's still my claim to fame. I can still claim them. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna be like. Right now, I'm not planning on going to school full-time. Who knows? Next month, my whole life could change and I'd go to school full-time. But that's the thing, is you have to kind of think about what your future might be, not what it is, because it's never gonna be the same way as what you expect. I never expected to be here. That was the last thing I ever thought I'd do, is to go to school when I would be almost 60. But I think it's easy for you to do. First, do the ones for Cincinnati State. The minute do you all check your email regularly? Okay, the minute you see that thing come out, you get online and you do it, because I think there's some that might require a letter. I'm trying to remember.
Cincinnati State ones all require letters.
Okay, so there.
There's two, and some students get their brothers and sisters to do it, something like that, which is not.
Okay, so what she said, so that everybody can hear it, is they require 2 for Cincinnati State letters of recommendation. So that, but like I said, start easy. Start on the things that you can do. Start looking at the Phi Theta Kappa. I still go on Phi Theta Kappa now. I'm an alumni. You're Phi Theta Kappa for life. It doesn't go away. There's bachelor's awards. There's master's level awards out there. There's awards for. I won the International Scholar Laureate, where they were gonna. Could have went to China or San Francisco. I was all set to go. I actually got a $2,000 scholarship from them to go, but it was like $8,000, and I could not come up with the rest of the money or take a month off of work, basically. But that, I still applied for it. It was like, I didn't think I was gonna get that, and I got it, so. And if you decline it, they can give it to someone else. They've got people waiting in line. It's not like
Okay.
you turn it away, they're not gonna give it away. They're
So
gonna
you just send them a letter saying, thank you very much, but I
respectfully decline,
Okay.
because I am unable to use it. At school here, if you don't use the money, it just automatically goes back.
Okay.
But like I said, most of Phi Theta Kappa awards are cash. So when you win $1,500 for silver medal, they send you a check for $1,500. Sorry, I didn't $15,000. $1,500. That would have been nice. So that paid for all my books for 2 semesters. That was great. I had money for my books. Heck, just paying parking at UC. Thank goodness I don't park there, but parking's now up to $800 a semester, depending on where you park.
For what?
I don't know for what.
Crazy.
Huh?
Is that valet?
No, it's not valid.
You see,
Yeah, it's different blocks now.
ridiculous.
They're up to 800,
Yes.
depending on where you park and what. Because when I went to get when they offered me the MBA scholarship, she said, "Oh, you're going to need this to get out. It's between $5 and $10 depending on how long you're in the lot." I'm like, "I'm going in for 15 minutes," and she said, "Well, that could be between $5 and $10 depending on which lot you park in."
Oh
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
"Okay," but so do you guys have questions? Okay, talk loud so everybody can hear.
Okay, so when you said we should get at least like 5 or so different letters of recommendation, we just ask our professors or whoever and say, will you please write me a letter of recommendation? Does it have to be for anything
Okay.
specifically?
I wouldn't ask them verbally. What
Okay.
I do is I approach them and I say, would you be open to me sending you a request for a possible letter of recommendation? So you don't put them in the situation that you're putting them on the spot. You just say, I'm considering applying for a couple of things. Would you be open for me to send you a request for a letter of recommendation? So that allows them to know that they're gonna get an email from you. Because everybody deals with email now. If you walk by a professor and you say, hey, I'm Sandy, can you give me a letter of recommendation? 5 seconds later, they're gone and they're not gonna remember.
Okay.
And they don't want a Post-it note. So then you send them an email, timely, so that they get it quickly after you've asked them. And in your email, again, you state, this is a request for a letter of recommendation, and any consideration would be of value. Thank you. And then you give them a small synopsis of what you want them to write about. Because they get lots and lots, especially if it's a liked professor or a liked advisor, they get a lot of those requests. And if you want them to talk about you generically, they're just gonna talk about you, oh yeah, they get a good grades, they show up. But what I did is I would actually cut and paste, like if there was a specific application that said, you need a letter of recommendation talking about your value as a student and your importance to the school, something like that. I actually would clip that little phrase and I would say, just for your information, this is what my application is requesting from my letter or my recommender. And then they have an idea of what to write about. They're no different than we are. Nobody likes to sit down and write all this crap. I mean, it's a lot of work. So you give them a heads up of what you're looking for. If you want a general letter of recommendation, then say to them, I would like you to say what kind of student I am and what your opinion of me is, or something like that. But most scholarships will say specifically, and look at Phi Theta Kappa's online, because they tell you specifically, I need a letter of recommendation stating your involvement with such and such club, or I need a letter of recommendation of somebody who has graded your work, not your high school teacher, one of your professors. It'll actually state those things.
Okay.
And then they have a better idea. And then you give them a week, and in your email, put a due date on it. So if you're asking for a letter of recommendation and the letter is due in 2 weeks, don't ask, because they have a lot of things to do. Give them a month and give them 2 weeks before it's due. So 6 weeks before you need something, you send them a letter and say, I need this in 1 month by this date, if you agree to do this or whatever. And then if you haven't seen anything in 2 weeks, then you send them a nice little email and say, I'm just reminding you, if you would please consider writing the letter of recommendation for me. If you decline, that's great, but would you please let me know? Something to that effect. Just be nice to them and just don't bug them and nag them. Every time you see them in the hall, don't say, hey, did you get my letter yet? Did you do my letter yet? And then the one that I asked for my professor, she never answered. She didn't get back to me, and I figured she just didn't want to do it. So I dropped it. You have to find somebody else. So that's why I say make sure if you need 2 letters, try to get 4 or 5, because 2 is not going to be enough. Somebody's going to fail you. Somebody's not going to get to you in time. Somebody's going to have a problem at home. Somebody's going to be out sick. And then keep them. I don't recommend always reusing them, but you got a good window of 6 months to a year of that particular letter that you can use, because that's current. After 6 months or a year, it's not a current letter. Yes?
Did you find that many of these though have to be done online? It's not like you ever get them.
No, the Phi Theta Kappa, you had to have them attached, but like you guys had to attach the letter.
Most of the ones I write, they go directly into some system and they never go to the
back myself. No. You mean they send them directly?
Yeah, they
Yes.
never go to the student.
Right, but what I did is the people that wrote them, after I knew that they had turned them in, I asked them if they minded sending me a copy of them.
Ah,
There you
okay,
go.
cause I was
That's
gonna
the
say, I
missing
was like, cause I
Yeah.
was like, how did you get a copy? Cause we can't see the ones online, can we?
No,
'Cause I was
but
like, I
after,
wanna see
after
it.
it's over, you can ask for a copy of them. Or you, after they're done and turned in, you can say, may I have a copy of what you sent?
Okay.
I don't think I ever asked for the ones from Phi Theta Kappa from you guys, but I had enough professors that did them and,
And some people wouldn't be comfortable doing
No.
that. Don't be surprised if they would say no, but.
correct,
But that's a good idea for the ones that would be willing to.
right.
just-
My coach from Mercy wrote quite a few for me, and she always, after she turned them in, she always would send me a copy of them, and she'd say, you know, because some of the scholarships don't care if you've seen them or not. And especially if you know they're gonna write something good about you. The only ones you have to worry about is if you're asking somebody that doesn't really know you, or that you think might say something bad, but then you need to correct that before you start asking people. I don't know your abilities or your lives. I do know of some people that had problems at school and thought it was okay to ask everybody to write notes about them, and then wondered why they never got anything. That kind of is like a life lesson. You have to fix things before you try to look good. If you know you've done things that, let's say you failed a class and you don't want to admit that because you took the class over again, you need to get over it and admit to everybody, including the people that you're asking to write about, you're gonna find out that I failed a class, but I've grown past that, I retook the class, or you got a C, like, in some of the colleges, if you get a C, it's not acceptable. You have to retake the class, it's required. There are some colleges that do that, especially when you get to bachelor's level, you get 2 C's, you're out. I mean, there's some classes that the competition's so tight, they don't have room for somebody that's not pulling their weight. And that's when you have to admit, you know, up front, I failed this class twice or once, but I took it again, I know my material now, I passed it, and, you know, if that comes up when you're reviewing my file, you know, I would like you to know me now, not how I was. Everybody's got a past. I mean, there's none of us that haven't done something that you're ashamed of or made you mad, or, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff. I've known people here that, you know, came from very, very different backgrounds that I came from, grew up, you know, in and out of jail before they were 16, and they still win, they still go ahead, they rise above all that stuff. But you have to be upfront about it. That's why I said, like, if you're gonna talk about yourself, when they ask you to describe yourself, if you were a heroin user for 4 years and you think nobody's gonna find out about it, you're wrong. Somebody's gonna find out about it. Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody. Cincinnati is the smallest big town in the world. I can go anywhere and see somebody I know. It's ridiculous. So face up and just say from the beginning, I'm a 36-year-old woman who had a heroin addiction for 3 years. I've overcome it, I've gone through everything, and now I'm getting straight A's. You know, I didn't do heroin, but I mean, you just have to do that. You have to face what you actually are, where you've come from, and where you're at. Be honest, because they're gonna find out if you lie. They will throw your application out if it is not complete. They will throw your application out if you lie, cheat, or steal anywhere on it. If there's one thing wrong, grammar-wise, it can get thrown out. It won't even be read. I mean, there's so many of those little tiny picky things that you need to do before you turn it in. If you want to really win, the way to win is to just do it perfect as you can. None of us are perfect, but there are ways. There's spell check, there's grammar check, there's handing it to 5 people to look at. And guard your work. That's one of the reasons why I don't make copies. one of my times here, one of my semesters here, somehow somebody got a hold of my homework and turned it in and left my name on it. I don't even know, and of course I never knew who it was or how it happened or who it did, but you talk about feeling like you're going into the principal's office when you're 6 years old or 7 years old and have them look at you when you're a star student and you don't do anything wrong in your life, you think, and they're like, well, somebody turned in your homework. Okay, I didn't give it to them. How'd they get it? I have no idea. I don't know, but stuff happens, you know. But talk about being, you know, frightened about things. You have to realize that there's stuff's gonna happen, so protect what you do. Keep it, don't leave your book bags so people can get into them, and I didn't do any of those things, and still somebody got a hold of it, so I don't know. But how stupid are you? You left my name on it.
Huh.
What other question, anything?
Okay, so basically right now, I'm gonna start with, the Phi Theta Kappa website. Are there any, like online that you know of that are really good and helpful?
That,
Just other than
just
that?
do,
Just do that one first, okay.
cause that leads into College Fish,
Okay,
which is the biggest generator of correct for you scholarships.
okay,
And there's, when you're doing the Phi Theta Kappa profile and then the competitive edge, there's videos, there's things to read. The other thing that was in my binder that we didn't talk about, Phi Theta Kappa has a leadership development study that's on Facebook. And you have to buy the book, whatever book they're using at that time. Sometimes you can find somebody that's had it. It changes about every 6 months to a year. It's a once a week or twice a week blog type thing through Facebook, and you work through different types. Mine was on different kinds of literature that just regarding leadership development. And you get a certificate for it, for going through it. It's a really good program, and it's free. You just have to look on Facebook and type in like PTK Leadership Development or something, and it comes up. I know the other two people that I was in class with, that we graduated at different times, that won something sometime, Teddy and Pam. They did the leadership development online too. I think Pam did, I'm not sure, I know Teddy did. It's a really, huh? I think she did too. It's a really good program that gets you thinking, and you meet a lot of other Phi Theta Kappas that are doing the same thing you're doing, and it gives you people that you can ask questions like these kinds of things too.
Okay.
I have, on Facebook, I have probably 500 or 600 contacts that are Phi Theta Kappas around the world. Part of it's from when you go to the conferences, but part of it's just from getting online. Just type in PTK, you'll see tons of stuff that come up. And everybody that's, you can Facebook me, it's just Sandy Oppelt, my page is open. Well, I'm on our Facebook on Cincinnati State, so you can tag me if you want and I'll friend you. But a lot of the people, like a lot of the past officers are on Facebook and open. And if you have questions like, I'm struggling with this part, what do I do, or what's the best way to do a scholarship thing, they'll help you. They answer questions all the time. All the current officers are on Facebook, so you can become friends with them. It really is a big family, and they're all real friendly. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it. But if you do the little things that I told you about, and you start keeping a log of everything, it's hard to go back 3 years and think about everything you did to help somebody. But if you keep track of it, even if it just starts now going forward, you'll be surprised of how helpful you are and how much involvement you have. You do more than you think you do, you just don't keep track of it.
You said that I see the Cincinnati State scholarships, and I've heard quite a few professors talk about it and how often they don't get used. When do you find out when these open up? You send an email?
The college sends out an email.
Yeah, they send you email.
Is there a
And-
website too that we go to, or?
It's in the email, and it tells you, it'll tell you the period of time that it's open,
Okay.
and when you have it till it closes. So everything that I think it closes in December or November, and then you get the awards the following semester, so, in May. Sometimes you know ahead of time, cause like I knew before, there was, Zonta had their own banquet. Zonta was the first one I won, it's for women empowerment, across the world. And, they had their own banquet, so they contacted me and so I knew like in March for that particular one, but it was through Cincinnati State that I got it. I think they choose 3 every year for that one.
I was on the scholarship committee for the first time this year, so I'm not particularly well versed in how all of it works. But I know that the scholarships closed in, maybe I've got it wrong, maybe they opened in.
They open in
They're-
November.
They opened in November, they
February,
closed in like
January.
February or
Okay.
January.
Yeah.
And then we read scholarship applications, like loads of scholarship applications in the spring, and then allocations were made, maybe, I think we had to have all that done in April. So there's a long list of things that has to be done after the scholarships close, and then the money gets allocated, and then they send out notifications, and people who accept them, so that's the other thing, by email. Like, a lot of people stop checking their Cincinnati State email, I'm not going to school this semester, and then they've got scholarship
Which goes,
notification, which they never knew about, and if they don't reply within, I think, 7 days,
Right.
it's lost to them, and it gets offered to somebody else.
Oh.
right,
So, one of the biggest mistakes you can make as a student in any campus is to decide not to use the college's email.
right. Well,
That's a huge mistake that a lot of
and
students.
actually in work or anywhere else, I have, on my phone, I'm so geeky
I
anyway.
have both.
But
yeah.
I actually have 5 emails that feed into I have my UC email, I have my work email, I have my AOL, and I have 2 other ones like Gmail and something else. Everything.
And that's not forwarding, that's the actual
No,
mailbox.
it's my actual mailbox
Yeah.
on my phone, because first of all, I can't miss any of my work stuff, but like UC sends stuff every day, constantly, and so does Cincinnati State, and it's the best way, like, to develop the relationships at work, at Jewish Hospital. If you don't answer your email, they forget about you, because it's part of your job, just like going to school is your job. So you have to treat it like every email is important, it doesn't matter. And honestly, there's so many people that send stuff out of opportunities. I remember one year the garden club was doing something, and they had like an emergency sale, I don't remember exactly, but they needed people to help them just like put stuff out. You got credit for helping them taking the stuff off the one cart and putting it on another cart. They send it out and they're like, in 45 minutes we need, so many people to do this. That's how you stay connected, that's how you do it. But, even if you, like your scholarship that you can't use, you accept that, and then you decline it, then you send a note and you say, I gracefully decline this, I won't be in school that semester, but please keep me in the
I
loop,
don't think I
and,
did that. I have to remember that.
huh?
I said I don't think I accepted it because I was like, well, I'm not gonna.
Oh, no, you accept everything, and then you tell them you can't use it, please put it back, but you say thank you, and then you accept, and then you decline if you don't need it. Cause somebody else can use it, I mean,
Okay.
the money doesn't go to waste, it just, if,
It'll go
but,
through another round.
correct, it'll go through another round. Anything else?
How does that work though, like, with the Cincinnati State scholarships, like you were saying, I get the email, but like you were saying, you said women's empowerment, are there different Cincinnati States, or is it just you do one?
No, you do
It
one.
goes to everything?
You do
Ah,
one, and they
okay.
pull you out for stuff.
Okay.
You can win 2 or 3 or 4 of them.
When we're reading the scholarships, we're actually reading them and making notes on, like she was talking about single parents. Maybe they're
Okay.
looking for single parents, maybe they're looking for first
Women over
generation.
50.
Okay.
Women over 50, that was
You
one of
make
mine.
a note of that, so like we
Ah.
have all these little things that we actually read them, get to
Okay.
know the person,
Yep.
and then they get matched up based on things like that. So it could be gender, it could be race, it could be age, it could be, that your first time, in your whole
Right.
family, first time student. It could be the major, it could be somebody who, likes to, like somebody who's a Baptist church
Right.
member. You know, it is
Okay.
amazing the different categories there are.
Okay, okay.
So, you just wanna make sure people reading that can get all this facts about you,
Okay.
so, cause sometimes it's hard to tell.
Would you suggest, would the writing center here, if we write it out, would they help, like,
Of
go over
course.
and look over it?
Of course, you just
Okay.
make an appointment with them.
Okay,
And actually, your 5 Beta Kappa advisors are
Right.
not averse to reading those
Nope.
things
Okay.
either, but you have to, one of the things, I think the most important thing that Sandy said today, that she talked about a lot, was, how early you have to start on this stuff. If you're gonna need activities, you can't do that when the scholarship opens.
Yeah,
If you're
that's
gonna
true.
need things, then you have to be
Right.
thinking always ahead. And so you get those essays really early. You don't wanna be the person who asks me to look at your essay the week before, because I probably will look at it and maybe not do as good a job as if it was the
Right.
month before.
okay.
Well, everybody's time's valuable, that's the thing, but you have to make it part of your daily life, that this is important to you, and because money's involved, it should be important. Anything that you can get out of college not paying, you need to do.
Very true. So I have, one more thing. So
Okay.
for me, I volunteer at my church every weekend, all year long. I mean, is
So-
that something that we'll put on this? Is
Of
to do
course
it all
it
the
is.
time though?
Yeah.
It's like regular basis?
Doesn't matter, that's
Okay.
a volunteer opportunity, but you need to tell them what you do.
Okay,
So keep a list, and if it's the same thing every week, then you only have to talk about it once. But
okay.
if one week you do kids, one week you do kitchen, one week you do
Talk about all of them.
all that stuff,
Okay.
you need to make a list of everything that you've done, because sometimes even in scholarships, those are the things that they're looking for, like who does horticulture, who does flowers.
Yeah,
You-
horticulture.
Ah,
Right.
okay.
So all those little things count, that's why I said, even if you think it's not important, jot that down.
Okay.
And then you can worry about figuring out if it's important later or not.
So if I talk about that, like, so one of the things I do, every year, they have the awaited play,
Uh-huh.
and, I volunteer with my daughters. We hand out cookies so we can
Right.
communicate and meet up with people. But I do 2 different nights, and I'm doing that so that we can just, be in relationship together. So should I say that, like,
Sure.
I'm doing it to work with my children?
Well, sure, you always need a reason why you're doing it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I don't have to get any elaborate, just say I'm doing it with my
No.
children.
And
Okay.
some things like the red dress, everybody knows what the red dress thing is in the scholarship world. I mean, everybody knows what United Way is.
Okay.
You might say what you did for that particular time you did it, but you don't have to go into great details
Okay.
what United Way is and how it works, and, because that's an accepted
I
thing.
do think
Okay.
you have to be careful about, diversifying a little bit. Those 2 things that you talked about, which are your major volunteer things, those sort of could be looked at as benefiting you.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm
Right.
saying? You
Okay.
also want some things that are outside of you and your family.
Okay, so like, cause I do a lot at church, so I should say the other things I do outside of, like.
Yeah, because church is you, that's your
Okay.
family, right?
Okay.
It's you. And
mission team for 10 years. It had nothing to do with anything, you know, but it wasn't a paid position, which it should have been, but, you know, churches don't pay. So, but I was the director of a mission team for 10 years. So that was.
That's even outside of your church, so that's.
Right, so
Okay.
it's, but you gotta look at them, write them down, and then you'll see, and then talk to somebody. Say,
Okay.
okay, I got this list, is it any good?
Okay.
Well, they're all good.
Oh, sure.
I was gonna say, our leadership project, we're in a
Of
leadership
course.
class and we are doing a project. You're doing one with, homeless people, right? And we're doing one at a nursing home.
There you go.
So,
That's it.
That's
it.
community involvement.
Okay.
That's the kind of things that they're looking for. Just
Okay.
keep track of the dates and the times,
Okay.
who was involved, and what the main reason behind it was.
Now, would the same for my diversity, every summer when my daughters go to camp, I volunteer at their camp?
Again, that's.
Is that too much for me?
It counts as a volunteer opportunity, but it's for you
Okay.
and your family too.
Okay.
So, and those are fine, just make sure that it's not
All of that. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But you're involved in Phi Theta Kappa, so there'll be
Yeah.
other
So
opportunities.
like that
Okay.
cleanup Cincinnati.
Yeah, we did the clean up Cincinnati.
There you go.
Soup kitchens.
Soup kitchen.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Did you write all
We
that
did-
down?
We did the parade too. so.
In the parade, yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things then are outside of your normal.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And then I helped volunteer with, our ECE club last year.
Oh,
As a
yeah,
master.
great.
See, when you start thinking about it,
I know.
And a gazillion things.
but you
right
have to
now.
write them down, because when you need them, you're not gonna be able to remember them.
I know, I'm like, wait a minute, okay. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
Welcome.
much.
It was great
Appreciate
to hear you.
So
Thank
great
you.
to
Thank
meet
you.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
for your time.
And hit me up on Facebook.
You were so encouraging, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Either she's very encouraging and or like intimidating.
Oh,
It's like, oh my God.
I know, so really got a lot I gotta
You
get on
do
it.
half of the documentation that she did, you're in great shape. You'll be far ahead.
Before everyone leaves, and you talked about your time being worth something, and we don't have any honorariums to give out. I wish we did. I
That's
did want
okay.
to give you a few gifts on behalf of the club.
Thank you.
Um,
I love Phi Theta and Success State gifts.
You mentioned the shirts,
That's
so we got you one of those.
Oh, thank you so
Alright. If
much.
you're alright, we can switch it up for you.
No.
And then,
I like black, me too.
got you a nice little
Oh,
mug here.
cool.
So it's insulated, great for the summertime.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. I had a great time. This is wonderful. I tried to do this twice last year, and we could not get.
Really?
Yes, I did. We just couldn't get.
Well, I appreciate you, because I needed.
We got a good group this year.
They can